Good evening, everyone. Today is June 1st, 2026. Welcome to the City of Soledad Special Planning Commission meeting. It is 6:25, actually on my clock, 6:26 up there. And I'm calling today's meeting to order. If you wish to join this meeting, it's available via Zoom on the City of Soledad's Zoom. And then we will also be streaming on the city's YouTube channel for convenience of our community and for viewing purposes. Reminder that comments will only be received in person or via Zoom. And so I'm going to go ahead and do roll call. Thank you, everyone. So our Commissioner Sandy Fuerte will be joining the meeting remotely from 1901 7th Street, Apartment 9, Olivehurst, California, 95961. Madam Clerk, please call roll.
Josie Perez Aguilera,
Present.
Vice Chair Sergio Diaz, Commissioner Sandy Fuerte,
Present.
Commission Member Roberto Cruz, Commission Member Lorenzo Sanchez.
Present.
Thank you very much, Madam Clerk. So we only have two commissioners are present with Commissioner Fuerte via Zoom and two absent. We have quorum, so let's go ahead and continue with the meeting. So let's go ahead and get started with our Pledge of Allegiance. Can I have everyone please stand up and let's do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, so we're going to go ahead and move on to item number 4 of the agenda, which is public comments, announcements, and unscheduled appearances. So at this time, any member of the public may address the commission on items of interest to the public that are within the matter jurisdiction of the planning commissioners. Speakers shall have a limited time of 3 minutes. Please be brief and to the point. No action or discussion shall take on any item not appearing on the agenda, except the commission members may briefly respond to statements made or questions posed by members of the public. Are there any public comments not pertaining to the agenda in chambers? Okay, I'll take silence as none. Okay, do we have any Zoom comments?
I don't have any hands raised.
No hands raised, Madam Clerk, thank you. So no Zoom comments. Did staff have any written comments?
Not two items not pertaining to the agenda.
Okay, thank you. So no. All right. So next item, we'll go ahead and discuss public hearing. So next item of the agenda is item number 5, public hearings. Resolution number 2026-03, a resolution of the Planning Commission of the City of Soledad recommending that the City Council of the City of Soledad certify an environmental impact report, adopt CEQA findings and a statement of overriding considerations and mitigation monitoring and reporting program for the proposed Almond Acres project, and resolution number 2026-04, a resolution of the Planning Commission of the City of Soledad recommending that the City Council of the City of Soledad approve a planned unit development PUD 24002 and vesting tentative subdivision map TM 24003 for a 12.48 acre subdivision located on the west side of Orchard Lane and Cedar Lane, APN 022-281-005 in the R1 high density residential zoning district. So we'll have staff report.
All right, thank you, Chair Josie. On the record, this item is for recommendation purposes. So this is the initial phase of this project. The final approval of the entitlements and the vesting map will be going to City Council as part of the vesting map tentative map process. So the first phase is for the Planning Commission, and this is also for the public, but this is the first phase of approval. After the action tonight, we will be taking it to the next City Council meeting for public hearing as well.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. So at this time, go ahead. Oh, you're still gonna go ahead. Go ahead.
And then the second part is after my presentation, there is a presentation by the developer who will be having his own presentation. After that, we can open it to the public and then have a Planning Commission discussion. So as I mentioned, the proposed project is a planned unit development investing tentative map subdivision. Although I'm going to talk more about the planned unit development investing tentative map first and then go into an environmental impact report analysis. The action for planning commission to recommend to the city council first is approval of the environmental impact reports. Without the approval or recommendation for approval of the environmental impact report, the next action cannot move forward because it's consecutive to each other. So I just wanted to also provide that clarification. As mentioned, the project did go through a focused environmental impact report. All that documentation was attached to the staff report and for the public to review. As mentioned, the first action would be to certify the EIR, adopt the CEQA findings, adopt the statement of overriding considerations, and the mitigation monitoring program. And the second action would be to recommend approval for the planned investing tentative map. So the proposed project is proposing 55 single-family homes, and it also includes a 12 multifamily apartment complex. The proposed multifamily apartment complex is compromising a 100% affordable housing project. So those 12 multifamily apartments the developer is meeting their affordable housing component with that multifamily housing project. As part of the process, and it's a state law that we jurisdictions have to go through, is to review the California Environmental Quality Act and conform with the proposed state laws. This means we have to prepare an initial study, go through that process, and we found that we need a final environmental impact report specifically for vehicles miles traveled, and we'll get that into the presentation. Which is why we need to consider a recommendation for adoption of the CEQA findings, statement of overriding considerations, and mitigation monitoring program. Just a quick description of the project location. As mentioned, the total site is a 12.48 acre site, which is seen on the screen. This is also including the mobile home park that's existing right now and will be remaining. The rest of the property that is being developed is about 8 acres, not counting the streets as well. But because it's more than the 5 acre exemption for CEQA, we do have to go through that initial study and go through the CEQA process. Therefore, this application has been started since 2022, and because of the environmental impacts and the studies that were conducted to help mitigate any potential impacts, have been concluded, and we are here today after going through that process. The site currently is infill site. It is proposing the 55 single family homes, and it is adjacent to existing residential neighborhoods, schools. It's also next to the Soledad Community Center and recreational pool, municipal pool, as well, and local parks, as seen in the map there. In this next picture, you'll see again clarification that the mobile home park will be remaining and all development will be around it. The existing homes will be demolished. At the time of the staff report, it was reported by the developer that all arrangements have been made with those proposed housing tenants, and only one single family home remains. Others were mobile modular units that were on the site. So it's technically only one single family home, the other 3 were modular units. In this next slide, it shows you the proposed vesting tentative map. Again, as I mentioned, the developer is proposing 12 multifamily affordable housing units located at parcel B, which is right behind the mobile home park. And this is created through the planned development permit. There's going to be internal streets that are meeting the city standards. So these are public. They'll be meeting the width, which I believe it's about 50 feet wide, that will accommodate for traffic and also parking on the street. So these are your traditional streets that you see throughout subdivisions. in effort to accommodate for circulation, in the subdivision, in the proposed subdivision. There's also a parcel dedicated for stormwater improvements. And as conditioned, the project is meeting all the sidewalks and utilities capacity. So without coming here today, we do have to prove that there's enough infrastructure and existing capacity for sewer and water to make sure that this project is viable for the existing conditions of the city. As mentioned, parcel B, this is where the multifamily housing component will be in, and without this, the developer wouldn't meet the affordable housing requirements, which is by law that they're supposed to have at least 12 units, part of their entire project be affordable. In this case, they're going to be 100% affordable. Here's a few details on the single family component of the project. There are lots that have various sizes. Traditionally, lots in Soledad, and we amended our code to reduce it, is 5,000 square feet. It used to be 6,000, but we are seeing a lot of small lot subdivisions coming up to promote affordability by design. As you know, we are in a state housing crisis, and we do need to meet our regional housing need allocation numbers, which is about 724 housing units by the 2031 year. There's a lot of different ways to help meet those numbers. And one of those is providing small lot subdivisions to help with the proposed increasing the densities to create more housing units. And then here is a lot exhibit of how those houses are intended to look like and their placement. As mentioned, parcel B is considering the apartments, 12 multifamily apartments and their own private parking lot area within the 0.38 acre site. And then the rest of the homes, again, the lots vary between 3,800 to 7,000 square feet. So there's a variety of sizes and lots within the proposed subdivision. Here are the proposed models. To qualify for planned unit development, you have to have at least 3 different types of architectural models to help meet community design guidelines. And the developer has provided 4 of them. And these are some of the examples of the models that he intends to provide within that subdivision. And this ranges from 1 story to 2 stories, and you can go into more details about the proposed product. In terms of the setbacks, the proposed project and the permit itself is proposing reduction to some, not only the lot sizes, but also a few of the setbacks, and it's only to a few houses, not all of them. As you can see in this example, in the left-hand side on model plan B, the setback is being proposed to 15, where typically we do allow up to 20. And on model plan C, he is conforming to that 20 setback regulation. So not all lots will be exempt from requirements, but through the PUD process, you're able to have a variation based on planning commission and city council approval. And now going through the multifamily component, again, the site is 0.38 acres. It is proposing as a building with 12 multifamily apartments and a private lot. We do see that, you know, one of the exemptions that this project is proposing is open space. And that's a requirement for multifamily housing projects. This is the proposed layout. This is the first floor, which composes of 1 bedroom and studio apartments, as well as a area where they're able to sit outside, and it's a common space area. And then this is the proposed elevations, and they are providing 14 parking spaces. One thing to know with 100% affordable projects, because it's proposing 100% low and I believe very low income housing, they are exempt by state law to open space requirements and even parking space requirements. But in this case, because they're 100% affordable. 1 space per unit is allowed per state law. Again, the proposed project is asking for the flexible lot sizes coordinate, if we see that it's coordinated with the neighborhood design. One thing to note is that this developer was previously developed Liberty Court, which is across next to the Soledad Community Center. He can highlight more details about how that went. We see that the integration of affordable housing is something needed within the city of Soledad for 100% low and very low income families. We see that as conditioned, it helps improve circulation and connectivity throughout the entire property. So again, these are public streets that meet the public's width requirements. And as conditioned, they need to go through a specific analysis to help accommodate traffic flow in and out of the property itself. So they will be responsible for those types of improvements. The chart there below has the total number of units within the entire subdivision. So this will have 55 single family units, which is being proposed, 12 multifamily units, and then the existing mobile homes are 18. So you'll have about 85 housing units within that area. And as I mentioned, the mobile homes are not being touched, so they'll be remaining. One thing that I mentioned was the open space and connectivity. Because of the 100% affordable housing project, you know, some of these can be exempt, but as conditioned, and actually to the developers, I think it came from the developer, is to have a connectivity from the left corner of the subdivision that leads towards Liberty Court to help pedestrian access to go to Liberty Court and through, I believe it's Rotary Park, to have access to the Rotary Park, the pool, and also the Soledad Community Center. So it gives pedestrian connectivity through that side. Another good reason for this pedestrian opening is obviously connecting you to the community center. It's a city activity center, as well as a Mission Rec Center. And it also gives you connectivity to the other parks, such as the Little League and all the other surrounding parks in the area. The other item for circulation and parking. So for the 55 units, based on the off-street parking calculation, they are required to have 220 spaces. And that includes covered and driveway spaces. The proposed project is meeting that, as they are providing garage, and that is part of the covered parking requirements through our municipal code. As mentioned, the multifamily housing project is providing 12 units, and they are required up to 12, and they are proposing 14. On-street parking, based on an estimate of calculation, there's about 100 spaces that can be accommodated. Again, this has to do due to the fact that the streets are made to the public standards and can be provided within the public right of way. So the total spaces being provided on this project is 334, which based on the municipal code, we think that this is, we assess that this is meeting that requirement. And as mentioned, as a condition, a traffic evaluation for ingress and egress, which is entering and exiting the subdivision, will be required to help accommodate traffic. So this means if there's any needing to restripe to go into the property, any stop signs that need to happen to accommodate traffic throughout the area, then that would be assessed as a condition throughout the phase of construction of the property. The other condition for this proposed project is a red curb on the cul-de-sacs. So we found that emergency vehicles in the turning radius of our new ladder truck, because the ladder truck came in after this project was already in queue. The ladder truck would have a difficulty turning if there's vehicles on the cul-de-sacs. So as a condition, we are requiring the developer to red curb that area and leave it only for emergency vehicles only. So that is also a condition, part of the permit that we are considering tonight. So we talked about the proposed project, what is being proposed and what the approvals are being considered for tonight. Because of all these items, we do have to, again, take into consideration the CEQA process. The purpose of CEQA is to ensure that all the environmental impacts are studied. We disclose this to the public through a public hearing, and then it's being considered by decision makers before a project is approved. As mentioned, because there's no exemption for CEQA for a project this size, we had to start with the initial study. We assess all the impacts, except that with the VMT impact, which is vehicle miles traveled, we saw that the project was going to not meet that threshold that would consider it less than significant. So, and that's important to note because throughout the state of California, it's a fairly new law that has been proposed within California. It's really hard for other jurisdictions to meet it unless they have their own VMT policy in hand. And for us in the city, we don't have that right now. Therefore, we have to go through a focus EIR and study that more to see what that really means in terms of the project coming in, and then reviewing the benefit of either, going through this process or approving something for the bigger, the benefit of the bigger, of the public, for the proposed project. Once the EIR and the focus EIR was prepared, we had to send this out to public review, and we did get some agency comments. Some of those were MST, we got MBARD, we got comments from the Native American Heritage Commission, PG&E, Caltrans, Monterey Bay Air Resource District, and the California Department of Fish and Wildlife. A lot of the comments were more of a processing in terms of certain requirements to meet during the construction phase. One of the comments that did stand out was the coordination with MST, that they would like to coordinate with the developer and or the city to make sure that a circulator bus is accommodated throughout. And that's something we already work with MST. So we will be continuing that partnership with MST to make sure that the circulator bus can be accommodated as needed based on the proposed route. So right now they don't have a route, but in the future, once they do, we can collaborate with them. So we talked about the initial study and the focus EIR with vehicles miles travels. We noticed this environmental document on March 10, 2025. And then, that was a notice of preparation, and the draft EIR circulated from June 27 through August 11, 2025. So this has been the ongoing process since until now. So the environmental conclusions were that most impacts were mitigated less than significant, and the VMT impact still remains significant and unavoidable. Therefore, we have to prepare a final EIR certification with the proper CEQA findings, statement of overriding considerations, and an MMRP adoption. The MMRP adoption are additional conditions that the developer has to abide by for the project, and a lot of it goes with monitoring of any animals that are present during the construction, and also any human remains found during the construction. Those are typically generic mitigations that result of this process. Under CEQA, if the project has environmental impacts that cannot be fully avoided, the city must evaluate those impacts along with the project's overall public benefits before making a final decision. The Planning Commission and the City Council will independently review the environmental analysis, mitigation measures, and project benefits before taking an action. The environmental review evaluated impacts to the streets, utilities, and public services. The project includes a proposed public street and infrastructure improvements designed to support the development and connected to the city's existing systems. So based on all this technical study and the environmental analysis identified, the infrastructure impacts are addressed through the required improvements, project conditions, or disclosed in the EIR in accordance with CEQA requirements. So all of that has been conditioned within the permit. in order to help avoid those impacts. But because VMT is significant and unavoidable, we just have to make that determination that the proposed project outweighs that impact due to the housing needs that the state currently is in. Out of all that, we also found that this is in compliance with our general plan and especially our housing element, which encourages the availability of adequate sites for residential development and a variety of housing types to help meet our regional housing needs allocation numbers. This is proposing 55 units and again, 12 multifamily, 100% affordable housing units. And we think it's a mix of good housing inventory that the city will benefit from to help meet the RHNA numbers. So as I mentioned, the first action tonight is to consider recommendation of the environmental review, resolution number 2026-03. That would certify the EIR, adopt the CEQA findings, the statement of overriding considerations and MMRP. And the second action, if passed, would be the project entitlements to recommend to the city council to approve the project as proposed and conditioned within the attached planned unit development. At this time, I will pass on the presentation to the developer. If there's no additional comments, and then once the developer presents, then we can address any the public and then bring it to discussion.
So questions now or after the developer?
After the
Go ahead, sir. You're welcome.
Good evening, members of the commission. I appreciate you guys taking your time to come here today for this special meeting. I do have a PowerPoint put together. It's a little bit lengthy and some of it is Ariana has already talked about, so I'm going to try and fly through it just as quick as I possibly can. Okay, next slide. So this has been a pretty long process for us. We bought it, the property in 2021. Originally, the property was slated to be a mobile home park for the entire area. Some of the infrastructure is actually in there today. For whatever reason, the previous owners elected not to go that direction and ended up selling it off to us. So anyway, we purchased it in July of 21. I'll just read through this very, very quickly. It's been a long road. February 2022, we completed our first land survey. We got Chispa on board right away because when we did Liberty Court, we got our entitlements first, but then we had to deal with the ad hoc committee afterwards. And that kind of delayed us. So our idea this time around was get everything done ahead of time. So in February of 2022, we met here in this room with ad hoc Affordable Housing Committee and Chispa. And I know that Beatrice and members from Chispa have been working on that for years now. In March of 24, we established our developers account and submitted a tentative map in March 27th of 2024. And in May, the city requested for our initial EIR. Next slide. July of 24, we had our kickoff meeting with our EIR consultant. And then August, we received a letter of completeness for our tentative map. In November of 2024, the city attorney recommended doing a focused EIR to address these traffic concerns. And what happened with that was in 2019, the state changed the way they calculated the traffic. And they went to these vehicle miles traveled, which the consultant at the time told us it's virtually impossible with these small cities down in the southern Monterey County or Salinas Valley to conform ever because the main work areas are too far away. So, but just out of abundance of caution, we elected to go ahead and do a focused EIR for the traffic concerns. In December 2024, Andrew Hunter, he is our engineer that's been working on this project since the beginning. He submitted a preliminary stormwater control plan. By the way, he is on Zoom if there's any questions for him. January 2025, the budget came in for the focused EIR at $68,000, and we did our fire hydrant flow test performed at the property, making sure that we have adequate pressure and whatnot. So February 2025, the city council approved the proposal of Focus DIR in April. We completed our notice of preparation, time for Focus DIR. And then June of 2025, city is working on a final draft for the EIR, as Ariana said earlier. City posted their EIR notices. And then August, there was actually 2, not 3 mobile homes on the property that were not within that mobile home park. That was one of the concerns when we met with the city council years ago about relocating those people, and we have successfully done that and relocated those mobile homes as well. There is an existing house on the property right now. Actually, the guy that lived in the house, he actually took possession of one of the mobile homes and was able to move it, and so both of them were saved, and that's behind us. March of 2026, we met with the city planning department and city engineer to review findings of the EIR and receive the next steps. Next slide. Okay, so there was, again, we've been working on this for 4 years, and there was kind of 4 pretty serious challenges that we had to deal with. The first thing was, what were we going to do with the mobile home park? And we decided that we were going to go ahead and leave that as it is. There's 18 people there that have been there for a long time. So we decided to go ahead and kind of carve that out of the rest of this subdivision. Another challenge that we had was to relocate the mobile home, the 2 mobile home tenants and the house tenant that were at the front of the property, and we were able to successfully do that here quite a while ago. We worked with Soledad Inclusionary Housing Ad Hoc Committee, and mostly Chispa and Beatrice hammered something out over the last number of years, and I think we've got a plan, a good plan for that. And then in addition, we had to complete not only the standard EIR, but also a focused supplemental EIR. So those were the challenges that we had, and I feel like we've worked our way through all of them. Next slide. Okay, real quick, just to make sure that we know where the location of this is. It's kind of across the street and down a little bit from Hartnell College on Orchard Lane. You can see the red dot there moving forward, getting a little bit closer. There it is. So it is virtually surrounded by housing and the school. And if you look kind of closely, you can see those units in the front. This picture is a little bit older because a couple of those mobile homes have been removed since then. Next slide. There it is up close. Next slide. Okay, again, some of this is redundant, and so we can just kind of blow through it, but there is the map that Ariana showed you earlier. Next slide. This is, again, Ariana showed you this. This is an idea of what the affordable housing will look like on the affordable housing lot. Next slide. Real quick, these are some of the houses that we planned. One of the things Ariana talked about was affordability by design. So you'll see this house right here is 1,200 square feet. Not very often do you see anybody build 1,200 square foot houses anymore. We're selling, and have been for many years, houses in King City right now. And the 1,200 footers are one of our biggest sellers, and that's because people can afford them, you know. So we decided to go ahead and add those in this project as well. But there's our 1,200. It's a nice looking house, but it's not too big. 3-bedroom, 2-bath. Next slide. Okay, our next one is a 1430. Again, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, a little bit bigger, and then we go into the 2 bigger ones that are 2 stories. We have a 1685, and then the next slide, a 1900. What we try to do with these is kind of mix them up. You look at those pictures right there. The one on the right is stucco with the tile roof. The one on the left is some stucco, some board and bat, and a comp roof. What we try to do with our subdivisions is make them look not like subdivisions, not have them be cookie cutter where they're all punched out, you know, exactly the same. I invite you to go over to Liberty Court and take a look at that subdivision. We were through there the other day. It still looks real nice. Go ahead, next slide. These are some of our past projects. There's Liberty Court there on the top. That was in Soledad. That's adjacent to this piece, actually. That was about 4 or 5 years ago. We just finished up Arbolita down in King City. We've been working there for the last 10 or 12 years. Those are some of the houses in Arbolita. Next slide. And then our current project there is Mills Ranch that we're currently selling out of. Next slide. Okay, so the next steps in the future timeline. We're hoping to complete these hearings in the next few months. We're hoping to start grading this fall. The home construction would start probably next spring if everything worked out right. And a project completion would be somewhere around the spring of 2029. That all depends on sales and lots of stuff. But anyway, that's what we anticipate at this point. I'll be more than happy to answer any questions that you might have for either myself or again, our engineer is available by way of Zoom.
So, I do have a couple of questions. HOA. Oh,
Just to, clarify.
Oh, just to clarify, do we go into public hearing first? Yes.
yes,
Okay.
okay. Alrighty. So we'll go ahead and at this time, open up to the public hearing at this time. It is 7:02.
Okay.
Are there any comments?
Members of the public?
Did you have any questions for me? or no?
We'll have questions after.
oh.
Yeah, yeah, I guess the comments and then the questions for you.
I just wanted to introduce myself. I'm Jeff Morgan, the president of Chispa. We're very supportive of Mike Nino's project on behalf of the 12 future households. This is the next step. And thank you so much for pushing this a little farther forward.
Thank you.
Hey everyone. My name is Jake Martinez Perry. I'm just up here speaking before you primarily as a resident of Soledad. My wife is a longtime resident here, and I moved here when I married her. We live with family right now here in town, and we're like to save up to buy a home. And I think this development would be a great opportunity for us to potentially purchase as we're growing our family and want to stay in Soledad. It's a great place to live, and I think this housing project would be great for tenants of Soledad like myself.
Any additional comments?
Okay.
Yeah, just wanting to double check. Anybody else in the public who has comments about this project? Do we have any on Zoom, Andrea? Mhm.
Okay, thank you very much. So no comments in Zoom. Tenemos unas preguntas sobre el proyecto. ¿O comentarios?
No.
No? Okay.
Written
We don't have
comments.
it. So there are no comments in English, I mean, it's in Spanish or on Zoom. All right. Do we have any commissioners who have any questions or comments in regards to?
You need written comments because I think we did have.
Oh, we did have a written comment? I'm sorry. Go ahead. Written comments?
Do you want me to time you? Or
Yes. To the members of the Soledad Planning Commission, my name is Jose Martinez. I live right near the proposed project site. I am writing to you not today just as a resident, but as someone who cares deeply about the safety and daily peace of our neighborhood. I am asking you to please vote no on the Almond Acres project. When I read this public notice, I was incredibly disappointed to see that the city is considering approving a project that has a significant and unavoidable impact on local traffic and driving miles, VMT. To me, a project that has those aren't just technical legal terms. That means more cars, noisier streets, and more pollution right outside of our front doors. My biggest concern is that this proposed project is located right near a school. Orchard Lane, Cedar Lane, and Calle Valverde are the exact streets that our local children use every single day to walk, bike, and ride the bus to class. Adding 67 new homes means hundreds of extra car trips flowing through our immediate neighborhood daily. Mixing that massive influx of traffic with morning drop-off and afternoon pickups is a recipe for disaster. It will severely worsen school hour gridlock, drastically lengthen morning commutes for parents, and create major unacceptable safety hazards for kids trying to get to school safely. Packing 67 units onto this lot by shrinking 47 of the yards down to tiny cramped sizes completely changes the character of our neighborhood. We love Soledad because it feels like a safe community with room to breathe, not an overcrowded urban center. Cramming this many homes into our quiet single-family neighborhood will ruin the privacy and safety we bought our homes for in the first place. I understand that our city needs growth, but it shouldn't come at the absolute expense of children's safety and the sanity of local commuters. The city should not pass a statement of overriding considerations to simply wave away these traffic issues. If the developer cannot build here without endangering students and clogging school zones, the projects should not be approved. Please protect our neighborhood, our kids, and our quality of life. I urge you to reject these resolutions tonight. Sincerely, Jose Martinez. Sorry, I need to restart the timer.
You're good. Thank you. I'll let you know.
Okay, and then this next one did submit two public comments. I'll be reading the most recent one that was submitted for tonight's meeting. Okay, to the Soledad Planning Commission, I am writing to express my continued concerns regarding the significant and unavoidable vehicle miles traveled (VMT) impacts identified in the environmental impact report for the proposed Almond Acres project. While I understand our community's need for housing, adding 67 new residential units in an area that already exceeds state driving thresholds will severely impact our local quality of life. Orchard Lane and Cedar Lane are already seeing increased traffic, forcing the city to adopt a statement of overriding considerations simply bypasses a critical environmental issue without actually solving it. I also want to point out that while notice of this information was published in the Salinas Californian and distributed in accordance with applicable provisions of the Soledad Municipal Code to property owners within 300 feet of the project site, notice should have been provided to all residents, especially those who are within a certain radius of the project, as the impact is not only for those of us residing within 300 feet of the project. I spoke with residents residing on Malera Avenue, Camino de Arroyo, and Liberty Court who expressed concern about this project and its impact to traffic around the area. They are also concerned that they have not been notified of this and would severely impact their commute and community. The Planning Commission needs to do better and take all residents into consideration when proposing a project that has citywide impacts. Thank you for your time and consideration of the neighborhood safety and environment. Sincerely, Karina Rodriguez. Since I have time, do I read the second?
Yeah.
Okay. So this resident also provided public comment for the canceled May 14th meeting to the Planning Commission. I am submitting this letter to voice my strong opposition to the proposed subdivision project on the west side of Orchard and Cedar Lane. As a neighbor directly impacted by this development, I am deeply concerned about the significant and unavoidable impacts identified in the city's own environmental analysis. Furthermore, I want to point out the inadequacy of the public notice provided for the hearing. This notice is deficient and creates an unfair barrier to community participants for the following reasons. Failure to provide meeting time. While the notice provides a date and location, it fails to state what time the meeting occurs, requiring residents to perform their own research to discover when public was 3 minutes.
Thank you very much.
To the Soledad Planning Commission, I am writing on behalf of Chispa Inc. to support the approval of the Almond Acres subdivision. Chispa's focus is on affordable housing, but we support construction of new housing for all income levels. Housing is unaffordable for many because there are so few homes reaching the market. People need opportunities to move from renting to home ownership, and Almond Acres subdivision provides this opportunity. Sincerely, Dana Cleary, Director of Real Estate Development. And this next public comment was submitted in Spanish, and I've translated it to English. To the Planning Commission, I appear before you today to firmly oppose the subdivision project on the west side of Orchard and Cedar Lane, because this project directly impacts my life, my home, and my family. The city's own environmental report openly states that the damages in our area will be significant and unavoidable. Hearing that as a homeowner is frightening. I want to make something very clear. I agree that affordable housing is important, but placing this massive project in our neighborhood is the wrong way to do it. Our traffic is already bad. The city admits that the traffic impacts will be significant. Approving a statement of overriding consideration tells me that the developer's economic benefit is prioritized over my safety every time I leave my own driveway. It destroys the character of our community. This plan forces 67 units into 12.48 acres of land zoned for single-family homes, R1, turning 47 of those lots into tiny parcels of less than 4,250 square feet, completely ruins the space and essence of Orchard Lane. It takes away our space. Our pipes, our utility system, and our residential streets from Cedar Lane to Calle Valverde cannot handle this sudden impact. The request for flexibility in site planning is a strategy to evade the zoning protections that are supposed to protect residents like me. I also want to point out that the public notice process has been completely inadequate. The official notice sent to residents did not even include a time for tomorrow's hearing. This represents a lack of transparency and makes the notice legally inadequate, as it deprives us of our basic right to know when to show up to defend our community. Please think of the people who live here and vote to keep Soledad a great place to live. I strongly urge you to reject Resolution 2026-02 and Ordinance 781 at tomorrow's hearing. Ofelia Mesa.
And Andrea, just a point of clarification, was this comment submitted for the council meeting or for this meeting?
This was submitted for the meeting that was canceled for May 14th.
14, okay,
Mhm.
thank you. Because this one was noticed with time and location,
Yes.
correct? Okay.
That was it.
All right, thank you for clarifying that the May 14th was a planning commission meeting that was canceled. Okay, thank you. And the comment is for the planning commission.
Mhm.
All right. Do we have any more comments, Zoom? Written, in person? No? Okay, seeing none, we will go ahead and close the hearing and move on to discussion. It's 7:15. So do we have any commissioners who have any questions or comments in regards to this item? Sandy?
No, I do not. I read all of the paperwork submitted in the forms. I don't have any, and after today's presentation, a lot of my other questions were answered just looking at the maps in semi-color. So thank you.
Thank you, Sandy. Lorenzo?
Yeah. I do have a couple of questions. Do we have a average cost of these affordable homes? They're all gonna be rentals?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, the proposed 12 affordable housing units will be rental units. So this project proposes a mix of single family homes and 12 multifamily
Oh,
rental units.
Okay.
Mhm.
Thank you
And
for
just
clarification.
to add more information to that, the rental units can be rented to incomes to up to 100% of the AMI. So it could be low and very low, but it can go as high as 100% of the area median income.
Um, and then just a comment. I do appreciate a lot of the comments that did come in. Some things that we don't always think about is our neighbors and the neighboring properties. And looking at the congestion on the streets. But one of the facts of growth is there are going to be more cars. We do need more housing. There are more people, more families coming back and do like the small town feel. And looking at the map, I do see that there will be some congestion on Orchard Lane and Cedar Lane. But the main arterial is going to be Metz Road. Plus further north up at the connection of Gabilan, where the other schools are at, I don't really see that as big of an issue. So there are alternatives. Once you get off of or get through Metz, or get through Cedar and get through Orchard. Those are wide streets. I've been on them myself. And I do know that we do need housing, and affordable housing is one of them, and we do need to meet our RENA numbers. And that's not just an excuse to start building homes wherever we can, but if there's a way that has been done successfully in the past, going to the 1,200 square feet, it's something that I would support.
Thank you, Lorenzo. I agree with Lorenzo. I mean, we're looking at 55 homes, 12 units, looks like a one-bedroom unit, 6 one-bedroom units, and then 6 studio apartments. So I think that'll kind of, help ease some of that congestion that people are talking about. Definitely it is a concern, right? The congestion, the traffic, what have you. But, there is a bigger need in affordable housing, so I'm very supportive of it. Thank you very much for the multi-family units, apartments. And those are going to be managed by Chispa, or who's managing those? Okay, thank you. Okay. Yeah, especially for, the one bedrooms for families starting college kids. We also have the schools. We need housing for the teachers, the staff, people that move into town as well, and work for us as well, that we need housing for. So, I mean, these one bedrooms are good. Starting rental places. When are we looking to start this project? I'm excited for it. Thank you very much. I mean, that's one of the biggest questions I have, and, we're looking at, completing it in what, 2027, 29? What is it? 2029. That's quite a ways to go for me, at least. Or I'm very anxious to get this going. 1,200 square foot homes. My first one was a 1,200 square foot home. Now I'm in twice the size, but as time went by, I was able to afford a bigger home. But I have my first home was a starter home. I'm hoping that they will be affordable as well. Just so you know, I did buy a home, a home up in King City. I really like it. The quality, it's great. They do very good work with their homes there. One question I do have is, is this going to be an HOA or any restrictions on those homes on the 55? No?
No.
Okay.
No, the proposed project is intended to be all single lots. And the multifamily is, as mentioned, managed by the proposed management company, Chispa, for the 100% affordable component. The streets are public, therefore will be dedicated to the city through the final map process. So as previously done with other projects, this is the first step of this project. It'll come back to the Planning Commission for the final map version, which will then dedicate all the public streets and public, like the stormwater basin, for maintenance by the city. Therefore, there wouldn't be a need for private maintenance or an HOA.
Okay, thank you. And are we looking at doing the apartments first or the houses, or concurrently?
I
Okay.
think we need to go to the mic, sorry, because we have a commissioner on the online.
So, so part of what helps make it affordable is that the developer is providing the streets and all the improvements. So once those are completed, that'll give us the ability to begin construction on the affordable piece.
And
So,
if I can add just a little bit to that, but the idea is that it stays as concurrent as possible so that the project is, the affordable housing portion of it is built at the time that the project is finalized. The idea is that it stays within the same timeline.
Okay, yeah, thank you very much, because I know that that was something that, and I don't know which developers it was, this was previous to me, that we were going to get affordable housing and we didn't get it. And once those developments were in, we didn't get it. We didn't get it concurrently. We didn't get it before. We didn't get it at all. So now we're at this point. That's why I'm asking,
Mhm.
just to make sure that this does happen, you know.
Mhm.
And then,
I
Yeah.
do have one question. One of the write-ins was talking about the infrastructure. And has that been recalculated to make sure that we don't disrupt the infrastructure, the current infrastructure? Are we going to be putting in new pipes, new sewer laterals? What's the plan on that?
I can answer that. Based on the technical review that we have to do as a city before bringing a project forward, and it's one of the requirements, is that we need to have enough sufficient capacity, for water, sewer, to help sustain the proposed project. They were required to get a will serve letter, through our Public Works Department, meaning that we have enough, water and sewer capacity. There will be conditions for them to repair any associated pipes or infrastructure to help accommodate that infrastructure need towards the house and all the individual lots. But in terms of servicing the entire multifamily units and the individual lots, we did receive confirmation from Public Works Department that there's sufficient capacity.
Thank you.
and so, this question's to staff. So these, 12 multifamily apartments are going to be counted in arena numbers now that well, once these are approved and they get started, or once they're complete?
Do you want to answer?
Sure. Yeah, so through our housing element, we need to report every year. So we document two things on the annual progress report. One is when a building permit is issued, that gives us a little bit of credit, but we really count the unit until a certificate of occupancy has been issued to the unit. So within the timeline that the developer and Chispa, both developers have, I think we will be able to account for this unit during the current cycle that ends in 2031.
Oh.
Mhm.
Yeah, we don't want the state in our business. So do we know, right? So do we know in our arena numbers, like, I know we have a lot of ADUs that count towards that.
Mhm.
I don't believe we have a lot of 3-bedroom houses that count towards those affordable housing. I mean, where are we at? Because I don't know that we're gonna meet our numbers just with our ADUs and our 1-bedrooms and
Mhm.
studios.
Yeah, so I think earlier in, when was it? February, March? No, yes, sometime in March, we brought the annual housing report to the Planning Commission. That we only did about, I think, 60 ADUs that counted towards the medium or above moderate income. I can't remember the specific category. So out of those 60 or 70 ADUs, we would count it off from this RENA allocation that's shown on the screen. So we still have to meet 100 very low units, 65 low units, 183 moderate units, and 376 above moderate. And as mentioned, historically, the city has always done either moderate or above moderate. We've never really met the low or very low. And unfortunately, because we don't, we can't really track the ADUs rental, how they're rented, and we classify them as affordable by design because they're smaller units. The state definition of the ADU, they can be classified at either moderate or above moderate units, unfortunately. Mhm.
And maybe your question is also a larger picture question or bigger picture question. And I think this development provides some of the affordable by design, as we mentioned, even though we're not able to count those on Arena. But really, to meet our numbers, we need larger subdivisions. We're not gonna meet these numbers with the small development or ADUs. We need this type of development to actually account for some of those affordable units. So we have other projects in the pipeline, like you may recall, and it goes slightly off topic, and I'll stop here, but you may recall Parcel B, which is across the street from this one. They do have some moderate income units. Parcel E that is down the street at the end of Orchard Lane, and it's Santa Clara Street. And we're still working on the big Miramonte annexation, but that's a topic of its own. And those are the type of projects that will actually make a dent on the arena numbers. Yeah. But they are part of our pipeline.
Mhm. Thank you very much for clarifying. Appreciate it. One more question. What are these homes gonna start at? Like what are you projecting at starting these homes?
You know, we get asked that question all the time, and it's just impossible to say. It depends on so much, including, you know, inflation. The biggest thing that is totally out of our control and everybody's is the interest rates and you know what people can afford. And it's again, right now it's affordability is one of the bigger issues that we're having in King City, and we're still selling them, but it's hard for people. And so you know, the only way we can really affect that at all is, as Ariana keeps saying, affordable by design. You know, for years and years and years, there's so many houses built in Soledad that were 2,000 square feet plus, you know, and there's just a lot of big box houses, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's great. But this is a totally different product, and it will be more affordable by design. But as far as coming up with exact numbers, it's impossible to predict the future.
Yeah, no, I know. I hear you that we do have a lot of homes, 1,400, 1,600, 22, 2,700 square feet homes. And I mean, we're looking at $800,000 for like a
Exactly.
700 square foot
Right,
home.
right.
These 1,200, we don't have a lot, you know, the
Exactly.
starter
Well,
home.
almost nobody does those.
Right. And King City has some very decent ones. So
Yeah.
I wish we would have done that here.
Yeah.
You know, that would have been really good project here. Plus the cost as well.
Mhm.
You know, I mean, that would have been really good here in Soledad. Okay, thank you very much. I
Thank you.
appreciate it. I don't have any other questions. Does anybody else have any questions?
I'm not sure if Commissioner Fuerte.
Ms. Huerta, do you have any other questions?
Actually, I was just thinking about ADA, and you know, given on the low income units, many people are either elderly or disabled, trying to find housing themselves as well. Are there accommodations built into these units already in place, or are they just basic standard state requirements?
I can answer for part unless the developers wanting to add onto it, but all construction, even the single family homes have to comply with the state California building code and also ADA requirements for multifamily housing apartments. So it's what the state requires for construction. If there's anything else to add, then they can.
Thank you.
Okay, if there are no more comments and hearing none, we will go ahead and close comments. And all right. So do I have a motion to approve or deny public hearing item number 1?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve resolution number. I make a motion to approve resolution number 2026-3, a resolution of the Planning Commission of the City of Soledad recommending the City Council of the City of Soledad certify the environmental impact report, adopt CEQA findings and a statement overriding considerations and mitigation monitoring and reporting program for the proposed Almond Acres project, and
We'll take the first action, sorry. So we'll do
Okay.
the first resolution first
thank you.
for clarity. Thank you.
I will second that motion.
Seconded by Commissioner Fuerte.
Yes.
Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Chair Josie Perez Aguilera,
In favor?
Vice Chair Sergio Diaz is absent. Commission Member Sandy Forte,
In favor?
Commission Member Roberto Cruz, absent. Commission Member Lorenzo Sanchez,
Aye.
Okay, so motion passed, 3 in favor and 2 absent. Thank you, city staff. And then we'll go ahead and motion for the second item. Okay, so do I have a motion to approve or deny public hearing item number 2?
I make a motion to approve resolution number 2026-04. A resolution of the Planning Commission of the City of Soledad recommending that the City Council of the City of Soledad approve a planned unit development PUD-24002 and the vesting tentative subdivision map TM 24003 for a 12.48 acre subdivision located on the west side of the Orchard Lane and Cedar Lane, APN 022-281-005 in the R1 High Density Residential Zoning District.
Thank you. And seconded by, I second the motion. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Chair Josie Perez Aguilera,
In favor?
Vice Chair Sergio Diaz is absent. Commission Member Sandy Forte,
Aye.
Commission Member Roberto Cruz, absent. Commission Member Lorenzo Sanchez,
Aye.
Okay, motion passed, 3 in favor, 2 absent. Thank you, city staff. And go ahead and we'll go ahead and adjourn. Last item on the agenda. So we'll go ahead and adjourn. The time is 7:33. Thank you everyone for attending. Have a great night.